Okay, and good evening everyone, welcome to the Red Hot Gamers podcast. We have a very special guest with us this week. We have Mr. Pontin all the way from Hawaii. That sun has made his hair that colour, it's just what happens. And we've got Morel as well with his Homer Simpson onesie. Good evening gentlemen, pleasure to have you here. You're looking dashing tonight, Morel.
I just turned on the video. I don't know if I should have. I can do a Hunger Games. Well, then again, I could never see seriously to begin with, but because you know that whole Kenny.
Originally, I was wearing this like a prison jumpsuit because I'm wearing like long john underwear under it. So because I wanted to wear a baseball cap this week, wanted to do something different, but the baseball cap made my head look really fat. So now I'm just wearing my jammies because it's cold here in Canada.
It is. It's very cold in Canada. You should have got used to that by now.
Look at this. Look. Outside. Oh, come on, you twatty camera. Come on, focus. No, it just looks like the sun has descended onto my porch.
Yeah, well, I think that's a fair description of what it's going to be like.
Degrees out here. It's like 26 for all of you elsewhere in the world that use that stupid unit.
Yep.
Everywhere that uses the proper systems.
Yes. Screw you and your ability to divide by 10.
It's 4 goats and a herring outside.
Anyway, guys, just before we get cracking too far, I just want to announce our giveaway for March. That's what we're in, right? Yeah, March. Which is Cities Skylines, the brand new released game. It can be yours. If you are the winner, all you have to do is sign up as normal at the mailing list at redhotgamers.co.uk. It's the number one seller on Steam at the minute, which is pretty crazy, because GTA's been up there for quite a while and it's not even been fucking released yet. Has anyone actually played it? I haven't, I have to say. No.
GTA 5?
I have standards.
No.
I don't know, I like my city builders. I used to love SimCity. I even got SimCity 4 when they released it, even though the horror stories that happened when it got released.
Bought it regardless?
I did buy it regardless, and I've hardly touched it because it's a bag of shit. But this, from what I've heard, it's
so true.
It's so much better. It's what SimCity should have been, and they've got like a dozen people working on this fucking game instead of the millions that work on SimCity. Well, as it worked on SimCity, because
SimCity 2000.
Maxis is no more now. I don't know if we covered that last week, but they shut down the...
No, we talked about how EA murdered The Sims 4. But I actually, after the podcast, I went and talked to my girlfriend about it, and she was like, yeah, did you hear that everyone who worked on SimCity got fired, and they're never doing anything with the franchise again? And I was like, what?
It's looking that way. I mean, the game's only been out a week, and already someone has made a mod of the Los Santos area of GTA 5 that you can just patch into the game, which is pretty crazy. There's a former Maxis dev that's making mods for this game just in his spare time. Well, he's not doing it in his spare time as such. You had a Patreon website. It's a bit like Kickstarter, but it's kind of like a subscription thing, so you're paying someone for each thing that they do. So, for example, Total Biscuit, someone does a like an animated show for him, and he does it through Patreon. So every time he does one, he gets however many dollars people have donated to him that time, that sort of thing. Yeah, so this dude's doing it on that, which is a way of making a bit of money from basically doing the same shit that you've been doing for the past 20 years. Even though you've got no employer. So, Mr. Pontin,
Okay.
We go back a while.
Yeah.
We used to play Eve together a few years ago. I've knocked that on the head. Are you still playing? I'm assuming you are.
I did this year, which is absolutely horrible of me, but shit, real life's been interfering.
I was going to say, you've been travelling about quite a lot.
On it. Thankfully, I got various people that'll text me when important shit's happening, and then I realize, wait, I still don't have any fucking free time. Damn you, real life. Damn you. But yeah, no, great game. It's just it'll literally suck the soul out of you.
It
and
does.
being a ginger, that's a real problem because there's no to suck. It just creates a complete vacuum, which is completely bonkers if you follow science. But there it is inside me, a complete and utter vacuum.
And just an Eve logo. That's it.
Well, if you look really closely, he actually just has the CCP logo branded, like directly on him. It's not a place you can show the webcam, though, so don't ask.
It's just a shadowy image of Helmar in like a Darth Sidious cloak.
Yeah.
Power!
You somehow managed to figure out how to turn your standard internet connection into a soul-sucking device. He's literally the god of all gingers.
Did they ever get their space pod launched?
I don't know. I think they eventually just said fuck it and tied it to a helium balloon and it made its way into the sphere and then it popped, as helium balloons do.
That sounds about right.
But I'm pretty sure it made it somewhere up there around the 25-kilometer mark. Which was quite good. We were all like, ooh, ah, pop. Ooh, ah. As they live streamed it.
So what do you play, Bonton, when you do have some free time? What have you been playing?
Lately, my math crack bullshit make my brain hurt and punish my CPU and GPU game is Kerbal Space Program.
Ah, right. Okay. I have had a bit of a tinker with that.
There's nothing like launching something that's like 2,000 parts that's all trying to be physically rendered on a laptop to turn your laptop into a space heater. And reduce it down to like a frame a second. It's sitting there going, it's like trying to drop a 50-pound turd all at once.
Kerbal Space Program runs fine on my laptop. However, I find they tend to just explode for no reason. Like, it'll be a rocket I've used a dozen times, and then I'll be like, okay, I'm going to go try and land on the moon. And, like, right as I'm about to leave the atmosphere, it's like, oh, Kerbal, whatever his name is dead. And I look, and it's like just parts of the spaceship falling everywhere. And I'm like, oh.
Congratulations.
Oh, well.
A random deconstruction moment. At speed.
Glad I spent an hour building that.
It's an interesting game. I haven't really delved a lot into it, to be honest. I've built a few ships up and then fired them and not really done anything else.
Have you played Skyrim?
Have I played Skyrim?
Oh.
Yeah.
Alright, you know how Skyrim is modded till it breaks?
Yeah.
Kerbal Space Program takes us to a whole nother step. Like, you thought, seriously fucked up, Thomas the Tank Engine's flying around shooting fire with Wolverine. Like, there was a recent one where a guy literally just utterly destroyed Skyrim because he modded it till it broke. And then he recorded it, which for the posterity of all YouTube. Some of the shit you could do in Kerbal Space Program makes that look relatively mild.
Can you get Charizard dragons in Kerbal, though?
Actually, I think someone made a flying rocket-propelled version of one, yes. I believe it was a dragon from Skyrim instead of Charizard in particular, but it was still a giant dragon with flames coming out its asshole. And that's how it went forward.
As soon as this podcast's done, I'm going to go make Truckosaurus and launch it into space. Just because I can.
Actually, quite possibly one of my favorite flying things that I've seen on Kerbal Space Program was... Oh god, what car was it? Are you familiar with the Blues Brothers?
Oh, yes.
What car? It was like a Ford Galaxy or something.
That like, ex-police car that he came to pick him up in from jail.
Yes. They literally strapped boosters on it and flew it around Kerbal Space Center. And you could just see them. They're like, we're on a mission from God. And it kept going until it eventually plowed into the side of some building.
Brilliant.
It was brilliant.
Morel, what you been up to, my friend?
Strap enough turbines on something and it'll fly.
I've mostly been playing a lot of Prison Architect. I've sunk like 25 hours in Prison Architect over the last week. And if anyone wants to see the fruits of those labors, the first 2 videos are up on the channel right now.
Awesome.
Gaming with Muriel. Other than that, I've been playing Marble Heroes.
Ah, yes.
And
Marble
after
Heroes.
A proper X-Men themed pun, I looked it up, and we should have just gone with Marble Girl. Because the first generation of X-Men literally had someone called Marvel Girl. She got
That'd have been a
rebranded
bit easy,
later,
though,
but,
that one. So give us a rundown on Prison Architect, mate.
Oh, yeah, let's not aim for the low-hanging fruit.
Okay, Merle. On a scale of 1 to Dwarf Fortress, how convoluted are you making your prisons?
See, this is the tricky thing, because I have one that's functioning right now, but it is so big that by the time my inmates get from their cells to the breakfast hall, the cooks have stopped serving breakfast. And normally, I'll just stop and make like a nice tiny little like low security, like minimum risk, like white collar caught for fraud, and then I'm like, you're in prison. But this time I was like, I'm going to challenge myself and make a giant supermax prison. And it turns out that people who are convicted of multiple murders and are on death row tend to get grouchy if they miss their eggs and bakey. So,
like
been a lot of riots in that one. Yeah. Can we coin the term, like, just to pull a Clarkson just means to, like, punch your boss or something?
I'm sure that is going to be used quite a lot in the future.
Excellent. Well, we have proof here on, what is it? The 16th of March we used it first. Unless someone else has already used it.
So, is that basically the concept? I mean, I'm guessing from the name it is. It's kind of like a city builder, but with prisons.
It is and it isn't, and this is actually something I touch in, I think, in episode 2. It's called Prison Architect, but you're really the warden. Because, like, you have to build it, and you have to get the grants, and you have to, like, set the menu, and you have to set the reform programs. And in my opinion, as soon as the prison's been architected, I believe the architect steps out. Like, I don't even think the architect's there for construction. They're just like, okay, here's a picture of what you have to do. Go to town. But it is more or less, I guess, kind of like a base builder, city builder type thing, where you're just given an empty plot of land and some money and said, make something work.
That's
or
cool.
don't. Depends on how bad a person you are.
It
is, and it's actually... it is now. I've had enough drinks to make that a reality. But it is actually quite a nice little game. It's a little pricey for early access. I think it's sitting around $17 or something Canadian,
it's around
or £1 sterling. But it's one thing I do really like about it. Same as RimWorld, it's a 2D one level, so there's not a ton of processing power required for like pathing on multiple levels or anything like that, and should run on pretty much any computer. So
that's cool.
I quite like it.
I say we have a motion to rename Prison Architect to Murica Simulator.
That's pretty much what it is. It's like one step away from Mad Max.
Trying to think what I've been playing this week. FIFA.
Still?
Ish.
Every
EA.
week I'm expecting you to come back and be like, I'm never touching FIFA again.
Well, that's kind of what's happening now with...
Oh my god.
With pretty much everyone.
Being on FIFA. I didn't think it was possible because their tolerance for that round footprint.
It's EA's doing.
Round one.
It's an American that did it, so...
They could just, like, survive on it forever. Just keep sliding them a pint, and they could literally just... It's a perpetual motion machine.
Right, well, EA, what they've done is the most popular game mode on FIFA is Ultimate Team, right? You get coins for playing games, and you can use those coins to buy packs of cards, which is how you get the players that you can use in that mode. Or you can buy FIFA points, for real money, which are very expensive, to buy the packs of cards with as well. But the packs are shit. I mean, it's complete fucking random. You don't hardly get anyone worth having, which is why a lot of people went to third-party websites to buy millions of coins for a fraction of the cost of what the actual FIFA points cost. EA don't like this because they're greedy bastards, and other people are cashing in on their game. So they've been trying for about the past year to eliminate coin sellers, and they've eventually done it, but they've completely wrecked the game for everybody. The only way that you could really make a decent amount of money in the game to be able to afford the big players legitimately was through trading. So you would try and pick up a player that was listed on the transfer market pretty cheap and then sell him for a decent profit. Whereas what EA have done now to stop coin sellers is every card on the game has got a minimum and a maximum price that has to be set. And the windows are fairly small.
Evil fucking communists.
It is. So if you want to buy 1 million coins from a coin trader,
you will be urged to carpet bomb it.
Why? To be honest, it surprises me.
And now we're all on
the
no-fly list.
You think about how hated EA are. I'm surprised nobody has tried something before.
They don't care. They're making enough money that they don't care.
Well, they were, but if you look at EA's stock prices, like the day after they released this, as in EA, not EA Sports, the whole fucking company, their shares plummeted.
Excellent.
Absolutely,
well,
yeah.
Here's the thing. This morning, I rewatched last week's podcast because it was hilarious. And
cheap plug there.
I was like, oh, hey, Syndicate. I forgot to download that in the end. So I went and hopped on, checked out their On the House thing. And then under the free section, it said free or demos and beta. And I was like, it'd probably be pretty cool to beta test a game for EA. Why not? So I go in here, and I'm going to currently read to you guys the list of demos and betas.
Right.
Don't worry, this is only going to take 30 seconds.
Okay.
FIFA 15 demo, free. Sims 4 Create a Sim demo, free. SimCity, free trial. Mass Effect 3 demo. FIFA Manager 13 demo. FIFA 14 demo. FIFA Soccer 13 demo. End of list.
Wow.
So, there's like 4 different FIFA demos and no betas. I felt lied to.
Yeah, that's pretty
I really
shitty.
did.
Considering that every single one of those games has been out for a long time as well.
Well, that's just it. How are you going to entice me with a demo of FIFA 13? If I haven't played FIFA 13 yet, I'm not going to.
No.
Same with SimCity. It wasn't even like SimCity 4. It just says SimCity.
Didn't they remaster one of them? I might be completely wrong there. Did you play Syndicate, though, by the way? Because I haven't downloaded that yet.
No. But based on Rev's response from loading it up and the screenshots, I have a feeling that's one of those games that I'm just going to keep because it was free.
Yeah. A bit like
It's
Peggle.
another Plants vs. Zombies.
Yeah. I've got Peggle in my game library because it was free. And that is the only reason. One day, I might want to play Peggle and it'll be there, but until that time, I'll play decent games.
One day I'll be strung out on heroin and looking for something to do.
Titanfall 2's been announced, lads. I don't know whether you're big fans of Titanfall. Either of you? I was. I loved it.
For like a week?
I actually would still play it now. And they've actually, the past couple of days, they've released all the DLC for free. Obviously, just to try and get people talking about it again, because hardly anyone's playing it. And I haven't played it for a while, to be honest. But it was good. I mean, I like Call of Duty anyway. But it's like, it took the decent parts of Call of Duty from the actual, like, the gunfighting, and then just stuck huge fucking mechs in there.
But mechs are awesome. Which is why you're online.
Hey, welcome to Canadian internet.
You're just pretending to be back.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you hear us? I don't think you can hear.
Just a cardboard cutout. Okay.
What?
Yeah, I could hear you guys the last time too. I don't know what happened there. It popped up and my computer was like, "There's no internet."
Have you looked outside? Is there a moose, a beaver, or a herd of angry Canadian geese pecking at your internet cable?
Damn those Canadian geese and their anger.
They're very angry. They really are. Have you ever...
Fucking hell, he's gone again.
Hello?
Hello.
I'm gonna blame all those technical difficulties on Origin, because as soon as I tried to close it, my computer just started tripping balls.
See, it's EA's fault. Everyone blame EA.
EA was just like, no one is allowed to close Origin ever. Once you have opened Origin, it is to remain open. Pay your homage to the Dark Lord.
In RAM.
Which is how I'm assuming EA refers to itself in internal documents.
Well, your picture's a lot better as well now, so...
It's amazing. You shut down an EA program, and it stops sucking.
Everything works fine.
Did you try turning it off and turning it back on again?
That's actually what I had to do. I had to restart there because for whatever reason my computer kept being like, "Hey, you have internet." No, you don't. Yes, you do. No, you don't.
Yeah,
but I think we're good now, even though my computer's not showing an internet connection.
So basically, my ginger magic is holding the portal open for you.
Apparently.
Of which, I'm pretty sure I could sustain this for quite a while because I have a stockpile of souls. But I'm pretty sure I'm burning like 1.3 souls per hour holding this connection open.
That's fine. That's fine.
Oop. There goes the soul of an orphan. I like
See, that's disappointing because orphan souls are really difficult to get a hold of these days.
It's true. When was the last time you've seen an orphanage you can just drive by?
I'm pretty sure Jimmy Savile has quite a few.
That's fucked.
So what were we ripping on before I disappeared?
I don't know, but I just saw a soul go through the background of Blade's picture.
That's his daughter, believe it or not.
Really? No, he's not. Oh god, where were we?
I don't know. Hating on EA. That's not.
Who was hating on EA?
No, we've moved past that. That's why I closed Origin.
No, we will never move past EA. Never. There's too much hate. It's a bottomless source of energy. We cannot pass this up.
Titanfall. Was we talking about Titanfall?
Oh, yes. Titanfall.
Yes. Titanfall.
Titanfall 2 specifically.
I'm generally against the Xbox, the Xbone, the Xboner, the X-Useless, because I've red-ringed at least 2 of them now.
What, the ones?
And I will never buy another one again. I don't care what they fucking have as their platform-only game bullshit. So the fact that it may be coming out as a multi-platform thing is awesome. Because I've been wanting to get it, because it looked cool, because, well, mechs and bullshit along that nature. And I have a projector and a barn. We could literally play 20-foot-tall Titanfall on the side of my barn.
It was released on PC, you know, Punt.
Was it?
Yeah, it was. But you did have to do it through Origin, which would have probably have ended existence, so...
I mean, I'm used to trading one evil for another. I mean, I'm a ginger, but Origin?
They do have an orange colour theme, though, for Origin.
Hence the evilness. It's powered by gingers.
That's why EA is just such a terrible company. They need to torture gingers to get the energy needed to sustain the Dark Lord.
Citation needed on that one, but yeah.
Well,
we ain't played by Wikipedia rules, boy.
There's something like that Crisis thing, where you have a giant monster, which is a horde of gingers trapped underground in a reactor. And that's what just powers everything via satellites.
That's what happened in the Pacific Rim.
The 0-point energy made by the lack of souls in high concentration.
We've offended so many different groups today. It's terrific.
They have a free power source.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's all.
Star Citizen.
Oh, it's so shiny.
Do you know what? Do you know what donation mark they've reached recently?
No, but I saw the fact that they were thinking there was going to be close to 100 fucking gigabytes.
Yes, it is.
I'm going to guess that it is sitting somewhere close to the GDP of Norway.
$75 million.
How much?
Billion?
$75 million.
Oh, okay. I need to look up Star Citizen because I don't.
It's so pretty.
Well, don't think I've actually read much about it.
People were kicking off that it's going to be about 100 gig, but think about it, right? You look at Call of Duty.
You can't download 100 gigs, even if you compress it. It's still going to be 30 or 40 gigs. Are they literally going to be shipping out
no.
hard drives with this already on it?
I think the download is going to be 100 gig. That is compressed.
Huh?
Yeah, so it's going to be expanded once it gets onto your hard drive.
Down the rest. Yeah.
No, like seriously, if they're at that point, then they just need to literally buy a few million quarter terabyte drives, if not maybe half terabyte drives, and just send them out with.
This is the thing, mate. On the Kickstarter, if you paid a certain level, then part of the deal was that you got a Starship-shaped USB stick with the game on it when it's released. It's like, where the hell are they going to get that size volume drive, like flash drive from?
It's literally going to be a half terabyte solid state drive with a USB coming out of it.
Yeah, exactly. That's all they can do.
I'm going to be completely honest. Good luck shipping that. Can you imagine how pissed off you would be if you, donated that money, ran down to the post office or whatever you British people do, and there was just, a broken package, and you, open it up, and the thing's just been stepped on or sat on, and you're just like, oh,
but
there goes $100,000.
It's
right.
like the American Postal Service you just described.
So get this. Where I used to live, pretty much the only internet I could get was capped at 15 gigabytes a month, right? So
it would take you.
Well, if you could go over it, but for every 250,
6 months to download it.
Yeah, exactly. That's if I did it over that way. You could go over the limit, but if for every 250 megabytes you went over, they charged you an extra £5, right?
Oh my!
So I worked it out. If I did it in 1 month, then it would have cost me about £1,700 for the game.
Wow.
Yeah.
You could literally buy a shitty car for that.
I could, yeah. It's
£1,700. You could probably buy a half decent used car for that.
But then this is how it's going, though. I mean, Titanfall was 40 gig, I think. You know, the Call of Duties are about 40, 45. Wolfenstein was about 40, 50 gig. And obviously, Star Citizen is going to be.
Did you see the Easter egg in Wolfenstein where it literally took you back to the original Wolfenstein?
No. Tell me about that.
I'm not quite sure how to access this particular Easter egg, but you literally go through a door, and all of a sudden, you're in 1998 Wolfenstein.
That's brilliant.
Dead fucking serious. It's square as all get out. Everything's perfect 90 degrees. It's this horrible texture of brick stuff. It's the original baddies that they just glide along. They don't even walk.
Well, that's kind of like, I quite liked it though. When they remade Monkey Island and they remade Grim Fandango not long ago, and they remade something else as well. Can't remember what it was though. But at any point during those games, you could press a button on your keyboard and it switched it back to the original graphics. You need to see just how far things have come. Especially
in
Monkey
all
Island.
fairness, though, how difficult is it to remaster a game? Because from what I understand, the only thing difference between the remastered and the original Grim Fandango is the graphics.
But
like the gameplay's still buggy as
point
shit.
of remastering.
But I don't get it. I really don't.
Remastered. Have y'all seen the new Homeworld remastered?
No. I've seen plenty of video footage of it, but I haven't actually played it myself.
Holy shit, it's glorious.
It does look very nice.
Literally winding up and sucker punching someone right in your nostalgic balls. Like, just, how do you
I don't actually know what it is.
Nostalgia?
My nostalgia survived.
It was a game that I never actually played either. So, So I do feel, when all the hype when this was people talking about it, saying this is going to be amazing. I never played it, so I didn't really get that.
It's like the Age of Empires remastered. It keeps popping up on my Steam, and it's like I'm not paying $25 for Age of Empires 2. It doesn't even look that much prettier.
No, it doesn't. I will give you that. It's hardly any different. I mean, all they've done is made it run a bit better. The multiplayer's working again now, and I think the population cap has been raised a bit. But other than that, the actual the graphical remastering that they've done is pretty minimal, to be honest.
Not $25 worth.
Yeah, it's certainly not, and it's not. Yeah, and it's not even. It wasn't even made by the original company either. So it's not even as though they own the IP for it. They've just done a bit of polishing and slapped a $25 price tag on.
Sounds like, oh my god, did EA buy out that company? Because that sounds exactly what they would do.
It does sound like
take this turn.
Hey guys, we just dropped $130,000 on buying the license to this game. Can someone remaster it? What do you want done? I don't know, remaster it. Put a new price tag on it.
You need to do the least amount of work possible, and we want the biggest return you can get.
So,
we've set it so you can play it 1080.
We're only going to polish one end of it, and then put $25 price. We're not going to polish the whole turd. We're just going to polish one end, and then put it in a box and put it up there for $25.
What exactly did you guys do? Well, the main menu's high def now. You can't really see it, but it is perfect. $25.
Yeah, the menu's in 1080, but the gameplay's still in 640. Speaking of which, Theme Hospital. I have been playing Theme Hospital still. Even though it is terrible.
American-sized solo cup. Which is bigger than Muriel's head, which is hard to believe. Because I've seen this head in person. It's really big. I'm honestly surprised. Is that an Urshka?
I believe the technical name for it is actually Shinka. But yes, and I find it very slimming into my head.
Like, did they literally skin an entire musk ox to make that thing to fit on your head?
What you guys don't realize is I'm actually sitting 12 feet away from my webcam.
Because, I mean, I've seen, if we painted you green, you'd look like a Kerbal.
Take offense to that.
I
like the way you say it makes your head look slimmer by adding like 4 pounds of curly fur.
A musk ox.
It's the plaid. You can't really see it.
It was actually made from his own anal beard trimmings, but
I'm pretty sure that was definitely just a spit take. Everyone, that was Plum. Thanks for joining.
Yeah. Technical difficulties.
Not out the nose, please. Yeah.
There's nothing worse than beer out the nose. So anyway, Theme Hospital.
It's still as fun as ever to play.
Are you having the save issue though?
I'm not having any save issues at all. No, it's working fine. Apart from it, Because, it's not been remastered at all. So it still looks pretty bad. And the menu systems are terrible. But, yeah, it's still the same game. It's still good fun.
Now, how does it stack up against the Oregon Trail? Because I actually played that a couple days ago.
I haven't.
You can play it online now. Just stream it through your browser, which I thought was pretty cool.
Okay.
So, do you always die of dysentery as well?
No, actually, not a single person died on my crossing. We managed to get through with more than enough food, extra water, and a full set of wagon parts, as well as several extra oxen. The only issue we had, one person broke their arm halfway across the country, so we waited a few days, and then they were fine. I don't know why everyone complains about dying.
Because that's what it takes. Just a couple of days, your arm's
a couple of days,
fine.
yeah. Fix the arm.
Just put a bit of glue on
Well,
it.
it's not like he was walking on his hands. He's sitting in a fucking ox cart.
Oh,
I wasn't like, hey, we're going to have to put a bullet in you because your arm's broken. You're never going to win the Kentucky Derby now. Off to the glue factory. No, it was like, sit up on the ox cart where we're all sitting. Let's cross the country. It did take me like 9 months, though. So, there's that.
Did you ford any rivers?
Yes, I did. I paid a nice Native American gentleman, and he guided me across the river.
I think he's a liar cheater. You always die
Well, we made it across the river, so... Well, no, there was one, and it was like, hey, do you want to cross the river? And I was like, let's look at the river. They're like, it's 9 feet deep at one point. I was like, no, we're waiting for the ferry. And then some guy was like, you sure? Because I can make your cart waterproof. I was like, no, we're waiting for the ferry.
I can make your cart waterproof.
So, you literally waited around for a magical crossing ferry.
Well, no, I waited around for a magical boat.
Come on.
And then Blade showed up and just took me across the river.
That's what happened.
In English, you said it was a magical crossing ferry, not a magical English bastard ferry. English.
We start
he
on
was
English
wearing
now,
drag at the time.
So, yes, I think I mentioned last week, actually, didn't I? About Pontin's difficulties in getting into this country.
Yes, I believe you did.
It was a shame. Damn shame. But,
you didn't help at all.
But, I got a free push bike out
I
of it,
gave them your number, and then they came back and reported me. What the fuck did you say?
You gave me... you gave them my number that I ignored the call about 3 times. Because
I'm sure
it was like some 0800 number. I'm like, what the hell's that? And I was like, shit, it might be Pontin. So I called it back, and it's like, yes, you've reached Heathrow Customs and Excise. I'm like, oh shit.
And here I am, in a room with no Wi-Fi, no nothing, and Top Gear's on a loop on the corner TV.
Blade, have you ever told Pontin exactly what you told them when they asked him when they asked you what he did for a living?
Well, I don't fucking know. I just kind of said he makes things.
Oh god, I was fucked from the beginning. No wonder I just got sent down there. They just looked at the shit. They're like, nope, back on the plane with you.
Yeah, no, they were all sitting in a conference room, and they're like, okay, we have this guy who claims to have money. He has a credit card. Okay, well, it's English, so they're like, so we better call his friend. And they called Blade up, and they were like, what does your friend do? And he was like, builds things, I think. And then they go back, and she sits down, and she's like, he says he builds things. And he's got a credit card. Can we talk to the bank? No. I don't think we should let him in. Me neither. And they deported you.
Yes, all the way back to Boston. So, to remedy this problem, I went to Amsterdam. Because that is always the solution. Shut up.
And they let him in, no problem. They were like, what do you do? And he's like, I build things. They're like, okay, come on in.
I was
Have
in
some
McDonald's
marijuana.
at the time, you know. I was.
I'm not even sure where the whole customs point was in Amsterdam. Like, I kept walking, and then all of a sudden I was on the fucking street.
He's
like,
walking around looking for customs, looks around, he's in a brothel. He's like,
I'm outside. What happened?
A very attractive lady
walk
took your
away.
passport and your wallet. You just assumed that she was from customs.
you know what? I think that's what I'm going to start doing. I'm just going to go to airports dressed as border security, and I'm going to be like, "Can I see your passport and wallet, please?" They'll be like, "Yes, officer." I'll be like, "Oh, I'll have to go check this. I'll be right back," and just leave. Max out the credit card, sell the passport. I'm on my way.
Yeah, stop at
now I'm on a no-fly west.
stop at the shops on the way out. Buy yourself some duty-free alcohol.
Yeah. Man, you can get a 40 of, like, what was it, Bacardi 151 for, like, $15 in the duty-free shop here.
Jesus.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like that's like an $80 bottle of liquor anywhere else in my province, except for the airport.
Wow. So, you go to the airport for liquor shopping. All the time. Yes, this is Halifax International, a liquor store. It's a crown jewel of Nova Scotia.
In my Canadian law, we all work there for 1 month out of the year.
Gentlemen.
Speaking of getting drunk,
Yes.
I'm flying to Iceland tonight. I have a 10-hour layover on St. Patrick's Day in Seattle.
Wow.
If I actually
first of all,
my flight
why Iceland?
to Iceland
Why are you going to
after
Iceland?
10 hours of St. Patrick's Day in a major city, I'm going to be very impressed with myself. Because that means I'm going to have to go back in through security being sloshed.
He says he's from America. Should we let him in? Let us call somebody. What does he... I have a Mr. Ponton here. What does he do?
He builds stuff.
She was like, so how did you meet? And I was like, yeah, we met online. We met on one of those chat websites.
Well, it started out, we were playing games together online, and one thing turned to another, and now he's come
His
to see a
webcam
concert
came
with
on,
me.
my webcam came on. We weren't wearing any clothes. You know, one thing led to another. And he wanted to come and visit me for a few days. No?
Oh, God.
Has anyone ever asked you where you got your bicycle?
Plenty of people, actually, yes. And I enjoy telling them the story.
So, you must... What is the story? Oh, yeah, this bloke was going to come visit and use it to pedal his ass around the country.
Pretty
And then he
much.
got deported, so I kept it.
Yeah.
Is that the story that you tell people?
Well, it's just, I didn't hear
he
anything
tells
from
them
you
the
for a
truth.
while.
This was all a scam to get a free bicycle.
Did I send you a backpack as well? Or did I not buy that?
No, I didn't get the backpack.
No, I only bought the bicycle.
Damn.
Oh, this podcast used to have some credibility.
This
Not
is the guy
anymore. I'm a
as well,
ginger
Morel.
now.
But it's like, you know, I didn't have a lock for it for ages. And people were like, aren't you going to lock your bike up? I'm like, oh, I didn't fucking pay anything for it.
You twat!
I've got one now. It's fine.
Oh, God. And this, everybody, is why you need to play EVE Online.
Because you meet us.
Indeed.
You build friendships that'll last forever.
And
Which,
bicycle thieves.
let's have a quick chat about that, shall we? Because we've all played it for a very long time. We all met through Unexpected Company, which was the first corporation that I joined. I don't know about you guys.
Think about it.
Did you have much of a history in their performance?
You little shit.
You still owe me a push
Who was he
bike.
calling a little shit? I was rolling a cigarette.
I
Who
said,
owes you a Plex?
owe me a Plex. I just remembered.
Who?
Merle.
Probably me.
Yeah.
I lent him a Plex, and I never got it back. I just remembered this.
Yeah,
That's it. I'm going to come to Nova Scotia and beat you up for $15. In imaginary
You're just
money.
going to change where your layover is. Stop at Halifax International. I guarantee that St. Patrick's Day festivities in Halifax would be much better than Seattle.
What is the deal with Iceland, Pont? Why are you going there?
Huh?
Is it work issues that you're going to Iceland?
Nope, FanFest.
Oh, is that now, is it? All right.
Now.
Well, perfect segue, because we were discussing Eve.
Yeah.
I know. So, FanFest this year, they've decided to hold it during a hurricane. It's blowing like 80 miles an hour.
Jesus.
Like,
Yep,
somebody clocked in at like a full 30 meters a second at CCP headquarters. Like, literally, the poor bastards cannot get in and out of CCP headquarters without getting blown down the street.
But see, it works out nicely because there's going to be parachute kite surfing. That's the word I was looking for.
Oh, plenty of kite surfing here, where it's not frozen wasteland. You have to dodge the cod fisheries.
Yeah, for those who don't know.
They've got like ice, moss, volcanoes, and cod. I just summed up Iceland.
And Eve.
And Eve. They have Eve. They don't even have the servers there anymore. They moved it all to England. To London.
Seriously?
Yeah. So every time they get DDoSed at that massive bank in London, Eve goes down. Yeah. Oh, fuck. But yeah.
So what was your original question, Blade, before we got derailed by FanFest in Iceland?
Well, we was talking about our Eve origins, wasn't we? I'm not talking about EA there.
EA can go to hell. EA can suck my giant, hairy ginger nuts.
So, yeah, UNXD was my first. Was it yours, Murrell?
No, actually, I started off in TGPLM with Mr. Ponton, in which I received a medal for exemplary psychological warfare in infuriating and demoralizing the troops. The enemy troops, I should say.
That would come from a lot of trolling, I would assume.
Yes. To troll.
I lived to troll. That was my one EVE talent. That and flying really fast, very small, difficult to hit, expensive ships. And then they nerfed it.
Thing for Draymond.
It made me sad.
Oh, you'll be
happy
to know the price of those has come down a lot.
That's not good to know, because now I can't fly them, and I have like 50 that I can't sell. I paid like twice as much for them. That's terrible news.
So was Crimson in there as well, or how did you come across Crimson?
No, Crim and Libel, the CEO of TGTLM at the time, what was it? I think, Pont, you were with them. They were deep nullsec for a while, doing like a ton of manufacturing, and then they went their separate ways for a while, but stayed in touch. And UNXD, I think, was...
What happened to Liberal Brian? I think he ended up in a wormhole.
He did for a while. He then moved out, and I believe, last I know anyway, he was just doing high-sec manufacturing.
See, this is the thing about EVE players. We're a lot like Vietnam vets. You're like hardcore into it for like a year and a half, and then one day your life just falls apart, and you're like sitting there with a couple friends over a beer, and you're like, we used to mean something in this universe, and now we're making ammo out of high-sec.
Well, there is. I mean, there was some in the bigger alliances that we're involved in, like when there was going to be a major fight at X o'clock in the day. I mean, there were some people who literally took days off work, or set an alarm clock for like 4:30 in the morning so that they could wake up and be involved, that sort of thing.
I remember one day, it was like the end of Sov Warfare. We had just conquered like 3 systems in a row. I was like piss-loaded drunk. I'd been playing for 16 hours straight, and I commented on comms that this fleet had gone on longer than I expected. And this guy who had only been on for like 2 hours was like, well, you don't have to be here. No one's asking you to stick around. And I was like, buddy, I've been here for 16 hours.
Shut your fuck up.
We're not even going to get into that. And then there was also one day, it was Canada Day, and I got piss-loaded drunk and yelled at everyone.
Day.
Like,
Canada Day doesn't exist.
Yes,
No,
it does.
What the fuck have you got to celebrate?
Canadian geese.
The day that we politely asked Britain to be our own country, and they said, sure, but you're still technically part of the United Kingdom. And we were like, okay, can we at least have our own money? And they were like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, you have your own worthless fucking money. Made from moose shit.
But back to the point, what was it? It was me, Pun, Bible, and Cathra. And Rankin. I think Rankin was part of it. And we merged with Krim, who had UNXT, and I think at that point it was Krim, you, and Ian.
Yeah, that's
in
about
UNXT.
it.
And then, like, less than a year later, we were a heavy-hitting nullsec asset. That was crazy.
So, the last rule changes that came down the pipe really killed you for me. I just finished training 13 Dreadnought alts.
Oh yes, the Ginger Dread Army.
Yes, the Ginger Dread Men.
And he's pissed off
And then
about
they
1
decided
month
to make it so that multi-boxing is kind of illegal without enormous amounts of energy. And I did not feel like setting up my shit to play within their confines of what's technically now legal by the EULA. So, I haven't logged in since.
Oh, you can't
I was just
multi-box
so
anymore.
disheartened. Huh?
You can't multi-box anymore.
No, not legally.
That's crazy.
You're not allowed.
One thing I did see as well.
They changed it so you're not allowed to broadcast commands.
Right.
So I could literally, as long as everything was set up the same, I would just have a puppet army of 13 or so accounts. And I could just, everything was the same. So they all did the same shit at the same time because they're all skilled the same and the same equipment. Took a lot of work to get to this point.
Yeah.
And just as soon, literally, there are a few days left cooking a skill, and then this rule change comes down. And I literally table flip rage quit. Right there on the spot. I'm like, ah! And it killed me for me.
Morel, we're not letting him play Tabletop Simulator with us. There would be too much table flipping going on.
Like, I will break your fucking table.
Oh, man,
I will stand up.
My girlfriend was like, you guys try tabletop?
And rip. And I will scream America as I flip it across the room. And there will be shit everywhere.
But I had told her, I was like, man, we're going to try Tabletop Simulator tonight. She's like, oh, cool, let me know how it goes. So I go back, and she's like, so, how'd Tabletop Simulator go? And I was like, oh, pretty good. We tried playing mini golf, and I flipped the table, and then we tried playing chess, and I flipped the table, and then we set up just a table full of RPG figurines, and I flipped the table, and then we played checkers, and I almost won and played flip the table.
Yes. We got about 90% through a game of checkers, and then I flipped the table. It wasn't looking good. So
then we played poker, and he won every hand, and then he flipped the table.
What was I going to say? Yes, I think they've made changes with, or they're going to with the timers as well now, haven't they? Because like before, say the person who lived next door to you or whatever was in an opposite time zone, you'd put, say, 12 hours strontium in your towers or whatever, so that if they attacked you on you would expect to be their prime time. When that came out of reinforcement, it would be your prime time, and therefore you stand a good chance of defending it, right? Whereas I'm sure I've read somewhere recently that they're making it so that you can actually pick the time it's going to come out of reinforcement. As in, you could...
They're not fixing passes, to my knowledge, but they're changing all these sob structures.
Yes.
to take a single input from some user interface, hopefully unfucking. Like, literally, Eve's code is 10 years old, the base code that Eve runs on. So it's basically fucked, and doing anything that involves it requires sacrificing a virgin, or at least a couple of sheep, praying to the gods of whatever fucking code it was written in, and then praying they don't break the game again for a couple of days. Like, do you remember the blackouts when they'd go in and they'd poke the core code?
See,
and
the thing I loved about
like
Eve
3 days while they tried to unfuck.
Well, it was a big thing, wasn't it? You know, it was if there was an update patch coming, it was well known practice to put a big skill into your training queue because it could be down for days or weeks.
Like that one time they killed it for a solid week.
Yeah.
I remember the Twitter stream. Like every, I don't know, 6 or 8 hours, they're like, yeah, it's still
I think
dead.
at this point, for non-Eve players, we really need to clarify.
Oh, God.
Clarify. Hey, go on.
Right now, we're a part of this alliance.
I think we need... Sorry, Skype's being buggy and Taunton won't shut up. But I think we need to clarify that all the skills in Eve are time-based. It's not like you kill 100 kobolds and you get 2 skill points. It's like you're literally learning a skill, so you pop in the skill training program. First level for like a lot of the common skills is only like 2 to 5 minutes, and then they exponentially grow. To fly, one of these dreadnoughts that Mr. Ponton here was discussing, the Ginger Dread Army, took like, 9 months of solid training?
Yeah, it was like 250 days worth of skilling.
Wow.
And it was like 249 days, and they decided to do the rule change.
Now, I suppose that's not a bad thing with Eve, because unlike with a lot of other games, though, you would now be stuck with those characters that you can't use. Whereas at least in Eve, you can sell them, which is
except for the fact that they're all phoenixes, and everyone hates phoenixes. So I'm stuck with these fucking worthless characters. I chose phoenixes because they would be super easy to multi-box.
Yeah,
because you don't have to
just
really
hundreds and hundreds of dollars and hundreds of man hours thrown down the drain.
Yeah. Because it costs.
Welcome to Eve.
Like I was literally spending very large sums, at least $10 a month for like 13 accounts, for 9 months.
Wow.
So like I was like, all right, I was gonna have this really impressive thing at the end, where I could just roll through and just demo shit.
Yeah.
And then CCP just was like, nope, fuck you, no. And here I sit.
I think the big issue with Eve right now, though, is that initially, anyway, it was like when we joined, it was like the Wild Wild West. Anything really went. Mm-hmm. And I felt right around the time, this was probably about 1.5 years ago now, 2 years ago, when they changed it so the drones stopped dropping minerals. Because the high-sec miners were whining that, well, we don't want to go low-sec. We don't want to go null-sec. Make it more profitable to mine in high-sec.
This was about the time, when they stopped drones dropping minerals, then that space pretty much became useless, and I believe about 2 months later is when we moved into that space.
It was easy.
Well, no, we were in drone space when they were discussing nerfing it, and who were we with? Was it Broken Toys at the time?
Could have been.
We were in like a credible null-sec war group, and then the whole alliance fell apart because our space was worthless, and we had spent months fighting to get it. Yep. And then one day Eve was like, so this space worthless. But you can keep your stations. And we were like,
yeah, thanks for
no. Peace.
We're going to go join a war against the Russians, which always works out, right?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I
we're going to fight the Russians for some
land. Out of there when PL decided to come by. Say, mine. I mean, so here we are. We're sitting in, what was our staging system? Whatever. way out in the middle of bumfuck.
GRNJ, was it?
The GRNJ was fucking like 5-6 years ago, Morel.
I know. That's like LVL back when we were in Alliance.
GRNJ, that was when it was a dead end system.
Right, when we were renting from the Ruskies.
It was when we first moved out to Null, that was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
GRNJ.
No,
we first moved out to Null.
That's when we were part of Dark Phoenix.
We weren't even a part of Dark Phoenix at the time. We was just on our own. It was just UNXD, and we moved into this system that was dead end. So we had to go through other systems to get to anywhere. And the next system along to us that we have to go through to do anything was populated by these guys that have lived there for fucking ages.
Not to mention it was a nullsec mission hub.
Killtimer, he was a member of them. I still used to talk to him until I quit. And he used to troll me pretty much every time. This is like 3 years later, and he would still troll me that he just used to fucking stomp on me every single time I logged on. I mean, I gave him ships at some point just to not get the kills. So he didn't get the kills, if you know what I mean. So I didn't get the losses on my kill board. He'd be attacking me, and I'd just be like, "Yeah, eject. Have it, mate. See you later.
Have it. Peace out."
Anyway, gentlemen,
it's times like this that I miss Eve, but I don't think I have it in me to start again.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. It's a young man's game, that is.
Though, I tell you what, the last bit that I did play through Eve was absolutely hysterically funny. We were a part of a group called Brave Newbies. They have literally 0 requirements to join. Like, literally, their big banner ad for recruitment is, got a computer and a pulse? We want you. Like, that's it. Like, literally, by weight, the Alliance has to be a 3rd spot.
Yeah.
But
he's gonna be.
And they shoot stuff, so we don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, God. But literally, imagine a room full of kindergartners with flamethrowers. That is Brave Newbies right there. It's running and screaming and setting things on fire.
Kill anything that moves.
That was about the point that I stopped playing, though, to be quite honest, because although I appreciated the no fucks given, we're just really gonna mess about. Just trying to be on comms and hold a semi-serious conversation about anything was not possible.
No.
Because you had 2,000 other people just like shouting and making sheep noises and stuff whilst you was trying to talk.
You know about sheep noises. Oh wait, never mind. You're not Scottish.
It's the Welsh more than the Scots.
I was just trying to help it over the fence.
I don't know how my pants fell down. Now,
Officer
I feel like,
White.
Blade, you're going to try and wind this down before it goes on forever. So do we have a top 3 for this week?
I could make one up.
That
Okay,
works.
then. Let's do one that only us 3 are going to fucking get. Top 3 Eve ships. How does that sound?
Works for me.
Pontin, do you want to kick us off?
My favorites?
Your favourite 3 ships in Eve, and why?
The Vagabond.
Good choice.
Because nothing quite says fuck you like drive-bying someone at 4 kilometers per second, shooting 120 millimeter ammunition everywhere. Like, you just fly around and you just spray. You don't even aim, you just keep spraying ammo at stuff, which is really great for groups of enemies. You just like shoot everything in that direction as we go by at insane amounts of speed. And they can't really do fuck all besides try and chase you. And if they do chase you, then they're just sitting there behind you with 0 transversal. And guess who's the next person to get a face full of 220? that guy. And I love it when they chase. Because it's like, oh, look, there he is, and he doesn't really look like he's moving because he's just sitting there or matching speed. You're getting a face full. So it's like, oh, 220 for you. And they explode into a huge wreck, which is fantastic. And then there's another one right behind that guy who's chasing you. You're like, ooh, we have another contender for face full of 220. 220 for everyone.
So, yeah. Is that number 3 or is that number 1?
Let's see. I would put the Vagabond as my number 1.
Okay.
For the troll factor, the Doomfoon. It's long since gone. CCP's changed the rules of the game and you can no longer make a proper Doomfoon. But it was for the same exact reason. It's a battleship class hull. It's not supposed to go 2 kilometers per fucking second while spewing 1,000 damage per second at everything that comes with the 20 or 30 kilometers while blasting its tank apart with heavy energy neutralizers, so it just has to sit there and take it like a cheap whore on the corner under a stoplight. It just sits there and takes it. One torpedo after another to the face. While you just sit there and just fucking orbit it at stupid speed.
For those who don't know, this ship is like the size of a small city. And like you say, it's travelling at 2,000 kilometres a second.
2,000 meters a second.
It's meters, sorry.
Yes, I think its length is 1.2 kilometers.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's literally... Oh, and it also had a drone bay. So as you drive by it at speed, even if they tried to tackle you, your inertia would just carry you onwards. You'd like, all right, I got scram and web. Nope, still going. It's so fucking heavy. There's no stopping this one. It's like trying to stop a freighter on a dime. It doesn't happen. It doesn't turn worth a fuck, really. But as you
don't
by,
have to at that
right-click your drone bay, you're like, drop all. And all of a sudden, you just crapped an entire load of heavy drones onto their face, which they promptly start chewing on for whatever poor target happened to be there. And then there's torpedoes everywhere. You're just sitting there crapping torpedoes on everything. Yeah, it's just no one expected the Doomfoon. The Typhoon class ship was so heavily abused. Oh, let's see. Number 3. Yeah. What would be my number 3 ship?
What about some assault frigates?
I can't believe that after spending like 9 months on 13 accounts getting pilots to fly Phoenixes, and that's not even in your fucking favorite ship.
Phoenix is shit. I shall not... I have 13 of them, too. Fuck me. No, it's an easy AFK ship. It doesn't move. It doesn't go anywhere. It was literally, somebody lights a Sino beacon. I'm like, oh, look, a Sino beacon. I jump to the Sino beacon. I fire up the siege module. I burn my strontium-based fuel. And I sit there and I crap Citadel torpedoes, which are the size of 3 fucking city blocks, into some poor target. By 13 accounts. It's literally 3 launchers, times 4 missiles, times 13 accounts. Hold on. I'm actually going to have to math because I can't do 13 times 12 in my head. It'd be 144.
156.
12, so it'd be 156. And 56. It'd literally be, at any given moment, 156 city blocks. Like, it'd be like the Empire State Building flying through space with an explosive warhead. And if there's nothing more American than that, I mean, seriously, 156 Empire State Buildings that are mostly explosives on the front end. America!
Like, each one had, like, a fuck you, Fritz, painted on the side.
That's why they should have had custom skins in that game, just so you could write that down the side.
Oh, God, don't give CCP an idea that they could easily go full EA with.
Yep.
Just don't. Because they will. Because they're bad. Like, I see the evil within them. They have this capacity.
Well, that's what EA stands for.
Evil assholes?
Yep.
Yeah, I thought so.
Oh, I like that.
Morel, go on then.
Is that why the Origins
Okay.
looks like an asshole?
I believe so. Oh God.
Well, I think I'm going to. It's a pretty
my
safe guess of what
third
your number one
favorite-
is.
Oh, I bet you're going to be mistaken. I'd say
I'm
number
say-
3 for me is going to be the Vagabond as well. I love a good ship that just moves far too fast.
It's all engine.
Number
and guns.
2 is
And they brought
actually
the
going to
little
be the
wings
old
back, didn't they, on it?
They did put the little wingy bits back on it.
And just because, again, this is a ship that cost like $75 million just for the hull when I was originally flying it. A properly fitted one was like $250 million. To
And
put
it
that
has
in
a tank of
perspective for
weapons.
non-EVE players, $400 million would buy you a month of game time. So I was
Not
flying
before.
around in a ship that was worth at least 3 weeks worth of game time. And I moved 10.4 kilometers a second. So nothing could hit me, ever.
It was
But my
lit-
number
it was
one
literally
favorite.
The Troll Scepter.
Yep. It was.
Oh,
So OP. It's
but
unreal,
my
isn't
number
it?
one favorite is, and I'm because I have some terrific stories about that, the Thrasher. But more specifically, the high-sec ganking Thrasher. It just has the biggest guns you could possibly put on it, and nothing else.
Yeah.
Because we got drunk and potted so many people in high-sec for no reason other than we could.
It doesn't sound like that much fun to people who don't know the game. It doesn't sound like just destroying people in an area of space that's meant to be safe would be that fun.
For all the people out there, most of them have played WoW, and it's what we call a theme park MMO because it's safe. So take your standard safe area in WoW. Go get a whole bunch of your buddies from Team Fortress 2 in Pyros, and just run through there, set everything on fire, and there's nothing they can do about it.
No.
And the
That
thing
is
about blowing up
fun
people's
one.
pods is in EVE you can get an implant, which once you die with the implant, it's gone forever. And
Eve,
some
yeah.
of these implants
Eve.
are so expensive.
Yes, they
And
are.
so you're flying around and you think you're safe, and you're like, because you can turn on autopilot and you'll fly to where you're going, and they'll be trucking along and they'll be like, oh, I'm almost to this huge trading hub. Hey, why is that ship targeting me? Hey, why am I 13 systems away in a station?
Yeah. Because what people
Where are
need to
my
understand
implants?
is when you die in EVE, you lose whatever you were flying. And it can also take a hell of a long time to travel around the place. It is huge. So if someone destroys you and destroys your pod, you end up back in some station probably at like an hour away from where you was meant to be travelling to. But the best part about it is if people were doing it AFK, then because they got killed, they would end up back in a station somewhere completely irrelevant. But you can just imagine them getting back to their computer and they're in station and it's like, oh yeah, I made it. And then they look and it's like, shit.
And then you get a
I
nice
started-
little email that's all typed up telling you exactly why you're a prick who should die.
Yeah.
Yes, those are glorious. I love the tears.
Now, was that all of them, Merrill? You got another one?
Yes. Nope, that
That
was
is it?
3.
Okay.
What about you?
Well, mine are all Caldari because,
They're twice.
yes, although my original race was Caldari, you can train into any ship that you want in the game. But for some reason, I always tended to stay with Caldari quite a lot. My third would probably be what was it fucking called? The Manticore, the stealth bomber.
Oh, yeah.
Because I had so much fun when we lived out, when we was renting space off the Russians. There was a system a few jumps away from us called Vol, which in real life would be like a huge roundabout, basically on a it had so many connecting systems, it had so much traffic, and just sitting in there for hours on end, just popping off bombs at gates when you saw someone pop up, and just watching them destroyed. It was fantastic. I loved that quite a lot. My second would probably be the Drake, but the classic Drake before they nerfed the hell out of it and people stopped using it.
It's still reeling from the nerf bat.
Yeah, it's a shame what they did, because that was like an institution, wasn't it, in EVE, the Drake. Everyone loved it. But for good reason. It was ridiculously overpowered.
They didn't have to nerf it that hard.
No, they didn't, but they did.
They literally made it utter flying dog shit.
Yes, they did. They nerfed it, and literally overnight it became like the least used battle cruiser in the game. But my favourite was probably the Naga. For one reason only. When we was fighting Goon Swarm, and we was going on nightly fights against these guys, the biggest group in the game, and I had one Naga from its existence for about 3 months during this whole thing. Then I had the same ship, and when it died, we actually held a little like memorial service that night for my fallen Naga.
That long?
No one targeted me.
Obviously, because it has a tank that's so thin.
Yes,
if you get large groups of people just looking at it, it puts a dent in it.
Well, that's why it was so impressive.
You just have to look at it and get shy.
I had this thing for absolutely ages. We went on all these bloody fights against Goon Swarm, and it eventually did get popped. And a tear was shed that evening. But I miss that. Poor Naga. Even to an extent that somebody emailed me. One lad, what was his name? Shit. He emailed me about 6 months ago with a load of screen caps that he took from when we was fighting once of my Naga. He's like, I just thought you might want these. And I'm like, Jesus, I'm not that emotionally attached to it anymore, you know what I mean? I was at the time. That thing was amazing. Oh, I'm starting to get a bit teary now.
Okay, was that your number one?
That was my number one, yeah.
I never did put a number 3 down.
Just before we do the sign-off, I want to give just some tips to anybody who has decided from our long-winded, convoluted reminiscences that should you take up Eve, if you fight Amar, pray that their capacitor runs out. If you fight Keldari, pray that their shield runs out. If you fight Galante, pray you kill all their drones. If you fight Minmatar, pray their internet connection drops.
It's the truth. It really is.
Anyway, gentlemen, it has been an absolute pleasure. Special thanks to you, Pontin.
What was the last bit? Flying Minmatar is like riding a couch down a set of stairs, firing Uzis. But that's not true, because you need at least 7 or 8 Uzis duct taped to the thing that are all firing by themselves. Now that's true.
Yeah, very much so.
Well, that's just because Russell with all the duct tape on.
Yeah, thank you, Bonin, for joining us at such short notice. It's been a pleasure to see you. We haven't spoke for a while, so, you know.
Text from him. He's like, hey, can you jump on Skype, like, right now? Why? It's like, well, we got a podcast to do, and I have no guest. Sure, why not? I've got nothing better to do with my day than build
stuff.
And be on Skype with you.
He says he builds stuff. Should we let him in?
You English and Canadian bastards.
So, right, just to clarify this before we do go punting, how would you describe what you do?
I build stuff.
There we go.
I generally do what I'm told, but only generally. Nobody can know what I actually do. Don't kill the magic of it.
Anyway, Morel, as always, been a pleasure. You, even if you are wearing a fucking hideous Homer Simpson onesie.
Yeah, but joke's on you. It's warm.
Check out redhotgamers.co.uk. Sign up for that mailing list. We have got a lovely code of city skylines. I've completely forgot who the devs are. I'm sorry. But thanks to them. And until next time, we'll see you later.
English bastard.